welcome to Resilient Now podcast. My name is Liliana Brown. I'm here with Elaine, but more about her in a second. The reason for this podcast is for people who are going through things in life. So you can maybe hear a speaker, a story of somebody who's actually been through what you're going through right now, and they're on the other side of it. So we're going to have various speakers. There's varied podcasts. So please, just sit down, have a cup of coffee or wherever you are working or working out, and just listen to these speakers because there's a lot of hope. These resilient stories are amazing. And I want to welcome Elaine to the podcast. And what I usually do is ask, what does resilient now mean to you?
Hi, Liliana. Nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting me to be here with you today. For me, I think resilience is about rebuilding, about moving on and looking at possibilities instead of the reality of whatever's happening in the moment. I think it's about keeping a positive attitude and a willingness to be creative, I guess. I think it's about gratitude for all the things that are right rather than railing out or sitting in all the things that are wrong.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that because I completely agree with you. So you have a resilience story for us, and it was a very challenging time for you. So I'm going to let you go ahead and just tell the story.
Okay. When I think of resilience, two things immediately come to mind. First is bamboo, right? And the second are my parents. Bamboo, because for me, bamboo is one of the most versatile materials on the planet. First of all, it's a source of food for humans and animals. It's also one of the most strong building materials because of its tensile strength and its ability to bend rather than to break. Okay. And it's also something that can grow and thrive in any environment, as evidenced by my dad having to burn the bamboo out of our yard every year because it would take over wherever it was planted. I think of my parents in terms of resilience because they were very resilient in the face of all kinds of adversity growing up. At one point, they were uprooted from their homes and sent away to concentration camp during World War II into a very hostile environment. And then there, they had to face a myriad of difficulties and dangers. And yet, at the same time, they thrived. And they grew from those experiences. And they were able to share those experiences with others to help them to grow and thrive as well. I think resilience, as I said before, is a lot about attitude. When I was younger, actually, I was born in post-war Japan during a time when it was not very popular to be half American. And we were targeted because I was not Japanese enough. And because of the difficulties, my family sent me to the United States, where I was adopted by a Japanese American couple, the people I spoke about, the parents who were sent away to camp, because I wasn't white enough. So, there was no way I could fit in wherever I was. I had to be able to adapt. After a variety of moments shared in the principal's office with my mother for some of my behaviors, my mom, in her wisdom, realized that I needed more than words of comfort. I needed strategies. I needed skills to learn how to deal with these kind of problems that would crop up in my life. Eleanor Roosevelt told us, as my mom told me, that you can't be insulted without your permission. Mm-hmm. So I learned not to give my permission. So when people would say horrible, hurtful things to me, I would learn to smile if I could muster it up and say, thank you for letting me know how you feel. Mm-hmm. And then I would walk away. No tears, no argument, no apologies, no more visits to the principal's office. So after the LA fires, when we lost our home, we experienced loss, homelessness, and a lot of uncertainty. Then, whenever I was confronted with challenges in my life, I would ask my mom, who's no longer with us, well, what should I do? And I think she would chuckle to know that the very same words that would cause a lot of disrespectful eye rolling when she said them at the time, or deep sighs, would come back to bring me comfort and direction. And her lessons to this day guide my daily meditation. So in these meditations, I think about gaman, and that's means enduring the seemingly unbearable with dignity, and patience. So I know that we all fall down at times. That's just a natural course of life. But it's how we pick ourselves up that defines us, I think. With
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It absolutely is. I'm sorry, continue.
No,
Sorry.
that's okay. So with every challenge I learned comes opportunity. An opportunity to see things through a different lens,
Mhm.
opportunity to change, opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow. I also think about shikata ganai, which means it cannot be helped. And this is not about defeatism.
Mhm.
It's about acceptance of what has occurred and finding a way to move on. It's about focusing on solutions rather than sitting in our frustrations. It's about resilience,
Yeah.
learning to bend so you don't break. So I
Mhm.
try to visualize and channel bamboo every day. Some days I'm more successful than others, I have to be honest.
I love that. Bamboo. That's going to be my new
Isn't
thing.
that, I know,
Thank
bamboo, I
you.
got bamboo all over the place.
I love that. That's great.
So
That's
I also
amazing.
remember mono no aware. I'll say that a few times. But that's
Okay.
about cherishing the present moment. Okay.
Mhm.
It's acknowledging its beauty and feeling the gratitude for what we have and then being willing to let it go.
Yes.
I'm still struggling with that. Please understand. But I know that it's about learning that to instead of clinging to experiences or material things, which
Mhm.
do, I have to appreciate them for what they are in the moment and then let them go when it's time.
Yes, absolutely. That's amazing. I love that. Yes.
And it's tough. That's harder than we think it is.
Yes, it is. It is. We get used to things.
Yes, we do. And then I think about wabi sabi, which is probably more familiar to the Western audience because it's an artistic tenet, it's an artistic principle. And
Mhm.
that's that everything is imperfect, incomplete, and impermanent.
Right.
The I Ching, another philosophy, teaches us that there's nothing more constant than change. And boy, I got to tell you, things are changing all the time.
Right? Death,
Right?
taxes, and change for sure.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
I'm learning to enjoy and appreciate the fragility of that fleeting beauty.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and I'm learning to accept things as they are rather than trying to force things to be what I expect or what I want them to be. And
Right.
expectations, as you know, are tough because a lot of times that drives our actions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because so much is out of our control. We
Yeah.
couldn't control the fires that raced through our neighborhood, our little town. We have no control whatsoever about how long it's going to take to pull things back together again. But what I can control are my feelings, my attitudes, and my actions.
Yeah.
Okay? Every day I have to work to develop this inner strength.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of a circular thing. We grieve and then we move on. We grieve, we move on. We grieve, we move on. And every time that wave of grief comes, it's different.
Yeah.
And hopefully it becomes less impactful as time goes on.
Thank you so much. It's true. It's, sometimes I like to think of it's like 3 steps forward and sometimes 2 back, but
It is.
always going forward, always moving forward and having the resiliency. So, what is something that you do, let's say, in the morning when you get up in the morning? Because now you don't have your home anymore. You lost your home in the fires, and I'm really sorry about that. But what's like a quick tool somebody could use that
Well,
you could?
first of all, I
Mhm.
didn't lose my home, I lost my house.
You lost your house. That's true.
My
Okay,
home is
I stand
here, my home
corrected.
is here,
You're
my
right.
home is with
Right.
all the people who came and shared the space with us, okay?
That's true. That's true.
But every day, no matter where I am,
Mhm.
I exercise, I have to,
Mhm.
and I meditate. And I start each meditation with my list of gratitudes. Now, I had to discipline myself and limit myself to 5 gratitudes a day. Otherwise, I'd spend the whole day being grateful for stuff.
Right.
So I
Yeah, I
guess
know. Yeah.
one of the first things I'm grateful for is that I have so much to be grateful for, right?
Yes, of course. Of course. Yes.
and and
Yes.
and I remind myself of that. I'm grateful for the outpouring of support and love that we got from family and friends that I hadn't heard from in years. I heard from a girl I had in my Girl Scout troop years ago who now
Wow.
lives in Brazil. I mean, it's crazy. It was so gratifying and at the same time so humbling,
Yeah.
you know, to feel that. Um, and and I remind myself that I'm grateful for my husband Chaz, that who I escaped with. We're still in each other's lives, to laugh together, to cry together, to lend each other support, all of those things. And I remind myself to be grateful for my daughter, our daughter, who, with her new husband, took us in. I mean, we're living in the back of her house right now, while we're trying to regroup and figure out what we're going to do with the rest of our lives. I feel like a kid again, just straight out of college. So what am I going to do? What do I want to be now? And that's kind of exciting, um, because we're able to recurate our lives for who we are today and not for who we were 45 years ago.
Well, that's a lot. And you've given people a lot to think about and how to move forward in resiliency. So I appreciate this, that you came and spoke to us. And I know I learned a lot. I'm going to take a lot of what you said and I'm going to use it, that bamboo especially.
Yeah.
So everybody, I'm so glad you tuned in. Make it a great day. Stay resilient now until next time.
And thank you, Liliana.